Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Nomad Zen. Okay, so looks like everything's working. Let's go ahead and dive into this stream. Now, for those of you who were able to see yesterday and the stream that I started yesterday, you'll notice that I have now since deleted that stream. And it just kind of where I'm at with things. Um, I feel pretty lifeless right now. I feel like shit. And when I feel like shit, it reflects into what I do and kind of how I present things. And it's where I'm at. It's where I'm at right now. I wanted to explain a lot of things yesterday, and it wasn't quite coming out right. And I think one of the reasons why is because of this right here. So this is ibuprofen, Motrin ibuprofen, and I have been taking this. I was taking it, actually I threw out the prescription bottle, but I was taking it in a prescription form where it was 600 milligrams all in one pill, instead of what these are 200 milligrams per pill. So why have I been taking these? How does that relate to the stream yesterday? I've been having a lot of pain. So ibuprofen's a painkiller. When you take it in as high of a dose as I've been regularly taking it, it is definitely a painkiller. And for those who have followed along on Instagram, you have seen that I have gone through an ear infection. You've seen in the past that I've gone through COVID. You've seen, yeah, that's a good question. We're getting to that. I apologize if I sound like an ass right now. I don't feel good. But the pain has been, currently, it's been in my ear. I've had an ear infection for about 3 weeks now. I've scheduled with doctors. I actually got so bad one night that I went to the emergency room, and at the emergency room I was thinking, oh, they're gonna definitely give me something that's gonna take this all away, like right now, if it's that serious. And yeah, they didn't. They just ended up prescribing me, like I said, the 600 tablets of ibuprofen, which it did help. It did help take the swelling down. And then I've been taking these eardrops that are, I think they're just stronger than your average eardrop, basically. So, well, it's a good question. Lowering my immunity. That's good for you too, by the way. You don't get pains or infections. Seriously, awesome. And the only thing I could think of that I lowered my immunity through was, ever since I've gotten COVID, that one, COVID has lowered my immunity since I've had it back in late December of last year. And matter of fact, since then, I have been on and off sick. I've just been constantly either sick or out of breath, or my sinuses would flare up. Eventually, I think that led to the ear infection. My energy levels have just gone from, some days I feel like I'm normal again, to within a day or two at times just down, and just like shit, and like I feel run down. Um, at the end of our street, there's actually a Walmart. So we live in a neighborhood, or I'm renting in a neighborhood that is now literally right down the street from Walmart. Like I can literally, it's kind of funny sometimes. I walk down the street and I'll grab groceries, and I just walk right back across the street. Like I just went grocery shopping at Walmart, and just doing that trip sometimes actually puts me out of breath. And I've never had that in my life ever. I've just never had that. Yeah, long COVID. That's what people are calling it. I'm grateful that it hasn't been in the brain, at least. But in some ways, it has felt like that, because what has been happening is kind of what those of you who jumped on yesterday for those like 10 minutes that I streamed was what you saw of kind of the emotional side effects. And yes, from this, the mental fog and mental kind of discombobulation a little bit. Yesterday, my mind was like in 50,000 different places at once, and I was kind of just trying to calm down and just take it one step at a time. And this has just been, it just felt like a whirlwind for me. So I don't normally, for those who don't know either, I never, like, since even before COVID, I would rarely take Tylenol. I would rarely ever, like, those were always last resorts. They were always a last resort for me. Motrin, ibuprofen, Tylenol, Aleve, all of that. I would reject that. I would just say, people would offer me that, and the people closest to me know. They'd be like, hey, do you want a Tylenol? You're having a headache. Do you want a Tylenol? Do you want an Aleve? Do you want this? No. Get it away from me. I don't want that. I don't want that shit. Because to me, a buildup of that over time is not good for you, and it's not good for your body. And no, so actually, yeah, so we're kind of getting there. Long tour, you're really great, actually. You actually are kind of keeping me on track right now, because it's hard to kind of just, that's what's been one of the hard things with this Motrin, is kind of staying on track in my mind in a way. Like I said, the mental fog a little bit, but I did stay. I avoided COVID to the extreme at one point in time. It's not the Delta variant, as far as I know. I got sick, and many people out here where I'm from in Arizona got sick around Omicron, or Omicron, however you pronounce it. And yeah, it was horrible. But the interesting thing is that, so the horrible part, now I'm starting to see kind of in the long run. So I got sick back in late December. So going into the new year, I was sick. So just late December, which you could just basically say January, February, March, April. I'm almost going on 4 months now almost 4 months of these symptoms of, now they haven't been the same. They've definitely changed over time, but my breathing has gotten better over time. I've noticed the headaches. I used to have persistent headaches every day for like 2 months. Like going into the 3rd month, it was like that. Now it's not so much that. It's become more about the ear infection. It's become more about my sinuses. It's become more about the occasional, not as frequently. It was more frequently back in the beginning of the breathing, of the hard time breathing. Now it's not as frequent, but when it happens, and it hurts, and it sucks. Yeah. Yeah, I did have Omni. I've heard it pronounced 2 ways out here, Omicron or Omnicron. Either way, I've had it. I had it, and my aunt had it, and I had it, and pretty much everybody at my work good vast majority of people at work got it. Um, but yeah, I'm not gonna go into it all right now. But I did the things to stay safe from COVID. I wore the mask. The only thing is that yes, I have not been vaccinated, and that's a topic we can get to, I think, farther down the road in this conversation today, and that I was going to talk about, but I'm not quite to that point just yet. Um, I gotta say too, long tour, you saying a headache is a sign of a brain infection, that's not really helping right now. I'm just gonna be honest. It's not helping. That that's like the last thing I would like to hear right now. Honestly, maybe you're not intentionally trying to do that, but it just doesn't help right now. Yeah. So there's been a number of things going on with my health, and it's not all related to COVID. Um, for example, prior to going, so I guess I'll mention before I just continue to talk here. No, I'm not currently on Motrin. Like I haven't. Last dose I took was last night. Pretty much, I couldn't sleep all of last night. I was up to about 5:30 this morning, so that was my last night. And about 5:30 this morning, I took some Motrin. So it's still in my system, but I'm saying it's just not as strong, and I know it's not because I'm been feeling pain since I woke up. I've been feeling pain in my ear, pain in my legs, pain in my ankle. So the pain in my ankle is before COVID. This is a thing before COVID that I've dealt with. I've worked in warehouses, and part of that is just making sure your ankles are fine. You get bumps and bruises. It happens frequently, and sometimes my ankle just really hurts some weeks, and then other weeks and I prop it up and I put topicals on it, and it's just hurting today. It's just hurting. Yeah, I'm getting to the vaccine part. We'll get there. My calves have been locking up, and I think that is actually because of this. So the calf issue thing, like I had tight calves from working, and like I've been attempting to get a massage for. Did I say that kind of weird? Massage. I've been attempting to get a massage for a few months now, and this has kind of been what it's been like for almost everything that I've been trying to do a number of things for a few months now. And it's like when I have the money to do it, then I feel sick, and I don't spend my time, money, or resources on that thing because I'm like, I need to get better, and I need to focus on getting better. And so it has just been financially draining. It has been emotionally draining, which is where it gets into the mental aspect of it, like my ear infection. It just drives me nuts, like, and it just gets emotionally exhausting and then physically exhausting. And so I'm sharing this because when I've had the energy over the past 3 months to make any content whatsoever, I'm like, oh my God, I'm better. I'm going to just do the things I've been wanting to do. And one of those is making content and engaging and showing and creating things that I've been wanting to do. And it's seemed for me to kind of go in this pattern of, and this is where I do believe it is the COVID side of things, is that I feel better, and then I start feeling bad, and then I feel better, and then I start feeling bad. And it's kind of just been that, roller coaster of trying to heal and trying to get better. I've never had anything like this in my life. I've never been like this in my life. I've never had allergies as strong. Like my aunt has thought, oh, maybe it's your allergies, the sinuses, and like every day now, pretty much every day now, I wake up with like a stuffy nose, and it's just like, is it ever gonna go away? I mean, um, yeah. So here we go. The anti-vaxxer. I can just see that out of everything that you wrote. I was kind of hoping that somebody wouldn't say that today, but yeah. So let's start working in the vaccine side of all of this. I think I've said enough to we can get to that point. Let's see. So, yeah, so vaccine. Okay. I was just kind of reading what else you wrote there, Long Tour, to make sure I answer the question. So, um, no, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Let's just start with that. I'm not against the vaccine. Just because I haven't had the vaccine does not mean I am anti-vaccine. I've had vaccines in my life. Many of us have. And do I prefer to get that? No, I don't. I don't. If I have a choice, I would choose not to. That would be my choice. Um, it's not because of the propaganda around it. If anything, I feel like there's been far more propaganda around COVID itself. Um, Propaganda and false information and misinformation, and that kind of bled over into the vaccine, I think. I think a lot of that bled over into when the vaccine was being released, right? So I don't have the vaccine. My aunt has the vaccine. We both got COVID. So for starters, let's just start there. A bunch of people I know out here, where I'm from, that have the vaccine also got Omicron or Omicron. They got Omni. So let's rewind back to the year of 2021. 2021, this is well after the vaccine has been rolled out for some time. Think back into 2021. The information, at least that was being received out here, was, and I remember the recurring and concurrent message was constantly on news stations, in media, all around in the year 2021 was, the vaccine prevents you from getting COVID. You can't get sick from COVID if you have the vaccine. Get the vaccine. Well, why not go get the vaccine? You're not going to get COVID. You're safe from COVID, right? That's usually how it was presented. You're safe from COVID. You won't get COVID. Fast forward to the end of 2021, going into 2022, out here where I live, a lot of the people that had the vaccine also got COVID. So I'm not using that in any way, shape, or form. I'm not even going to read what you wrote right now, because you might just be attacking me right now. Honestly, I don't know, Long Tour. I don't have the energy to keep up with all that right now. But I think this is just for everyone who follows along. For me to kind of make this clear is that I'm not attacking the vaccine when I say that. I'm just saying that that's purely through observation. That's purely through the observation of just an average person watching the media talk about that constantly and constantly. You couldn't, think of yourself. All of us know for ourselves, we couldn't not look at something and it mentioned COVID or the vaccine. You look at your phone, there's something trying to get in front of you, say, go get the vaccine, or COVID this, or COVID that. You couldn't look anywhere or get yourself anywhere to not hear that. Right? It got like super annoying to just constantly hear that again and again and again and again. Now, since I have had COVID, and since, like I said, my aunt got COVID, she had the vaccine. Um, there are people at the school that I went to that have gotten the vaccine, and just last week I heard someone at my school, the school I graduated from, saying that they're losing their taste again, and they've been vaccinated and boosted. And they said they're losing their taste again, and I'm like, again? You know, and there's been this constant dialogue and thought that has been out there that's the to me what I've heard is the vaccine prevents against COVID. Then it keeps you safe from COVID. Then it was, well, it keeps you safe from the Delta variant of COVID. So it was useless against Omicron, and whoever had it, really, you could have still gotten it. It doesn't mean everybody did who had it and Omicron came. It doesn't mean everyone got it. I'm saying the vast majority of people out here where I'm from did get it. The hospitals, the testing centers, Jesus, the testing centers were full. Everything was full. December of this last year, 2021, everything was full. Everything was being bought off the shelves. Everything was just out. Everything was out. And that's just from this perspective in the world. I don't know about the rest of the world. But just out here in this little section of the world that I'm in, that was the reality back in December of 21. That was, what, 4 months ago? 5 months ago now? People were getting sick left and right. People were reporting, all on my social media, people were reporting that they had had the vaccine and they're sick. And so they're freaked out because they're like, oh, I've had it and I'm sick and what do I do? And it's like, I don't know, because the thought was that you weren't supposed to get it. So what I'm trying to say here is, for me, all of that and observing that and then going through COVID and working my way through this has been that, to me, that information says that nobody really has the right answer. That nobody, even the people that are calling themselves experts, don't know. They don't know. Like, they can suggest based on data, right? That's where I think the average person is getting fact and fiction kind of confused. Or I'll say it this way, fact and data confused, where they're like, oh, well, because they said the data's there, then it's there and it helps. And no, that doesn't, it's just data suggesting more towards the vaccine. Now, you brought up a good point earlier, Long Tour, that it's a lower, you said something about a lower chance, right? And that's kind of where this has all been going. That's what I've noticed too. It's been going towards this idea that now the concurrent and recurring message that I'm seeing out there in the midst of still working my way through this is that in my social media, in my small section of the world, and in the media that I hear my aunt, so she watches the news, when I hear the news sometimes in the background, or when I walk in the living room and I see the headlines, right? It's now more along the lines of that, which is that the long-term the long-term COVID or long COVID is not possible with the vaccine. And it makes me wonder. It does. Now, I am also a living example too. I'm living data right now that I've been working through this, that I haven't had a vaccine, and I'm having what would be presumed as long-term COVID symptoms, right? That you could still presume that as long-term COVID. I've absolutely been, like, that's been on my mind a lot, and it's scared the hell out of me. It scares the living hell out of me. Almost every day. I have a small freak out about that. But, yeah, so, yeah, as far as I'm kind of trying to catch up in the comments, is that, yeah, that it's been reporting that it's been having a really terrible immune system issues and respiratory issues, and like for Omicron. And matter of fact, so about a month ago now, when I first contacted CVS, I did a virtual appointment. I think it was almost a month ago now, for my ear starting to bother me and my jaw. It was my jawline and my ear and my sinuses. The first thing they did was they prescribed me antibiotics, and I went through a whole thing, like a whole. I didn't have any refills, but it was like a week's worth, or a little more than a week's worth of antibiotics, and it almost did nothing. It almost did nothing. That's why I ended up in the ERs, because it didn't really do much. I didn't really feel better, and a lot of people were like, "Well, that usually works. That should make you feel better, in your ear too." No, it didn't even. It's like it hardly scratched the surface. So when I remember booking that appointment, the doctor had kind of, the way he was interacting with me was very much like he had heard what I was describing like 10,000 times over, and just threw antibiotics at it, and was just like, "Here you go, here's antibiotics," right? And this is a virtual appointment, so no, he wasn't looking to my ear at the time and seeing how severe it was. I did that because I just was so sick, I didn't have the energy to like actually go down there, and I was like, maybe this will be easier, right? So no, but he kind of had made it seem, and on CVS's website, they had ear infection and sinus issues and headaches and COVID. Those are like the top 4 selections when you were choosing what's wrong with you. What do you think is wrong based off your symptoms? What are these? Is it any of these 4 things? And then he had kind of made it seem in the appointment like it just was happening to so many people, So I was like, oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it, because of how many people got sick from this, that they're all experiencing those symptoms. So yeah. So the thought is that the vaccine is lowering the chance of long-term COVID. And a booster. And a booster. There you go. Yeah, you said it almost exactly as I've heard it. No wrong, but long COVID is lower by half with vax and boost. Yes. That right there. I've heard that so many times. And I gotta say, I'm not anti-vax, yet I've been skeptical of that, because now there's actually, so just this past week, there's the person that I went to, I saw at my school, that was telling me they're losing their taste again, and I think they said smell too. They definitely said taste. I think they said their smell too. And so they're telling me how it's they're hungry, but they're not getting full, because it's like there's no taste and they just feel like crap. They also did look tired and lethargic and weren't worn down, but they usually do, right? So I was like, well, maybe that's a symptom. I don't know. My aunt had just reported to me yesterday that one of her friends got really sick, and she's been vaccinated. All of her and her friends have been vaccinated. I think she said that she had a fever, and I think she said she was kind of dropping the hint that she was worried that it was COVID. So, do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not attempting to take one side or the other. I've just tried to be an observer through all of this, and yes, I will say to those out there who see this and are just kind of like, ha ha ha, and look at you now, look where you're at. Yes, I know, look where I'm at. It's not a fun place. I'm not saying that this is fun. I'm not saying that this is like, that I want to be in this, that I want to be feeling like shit every day or almost every other day. Like, it doesn't feel good, I would rather be creating. I would rather be doing all the other things that I want to do. And I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. And that's what bugs me about this, is that I think so many people are just jumping towards the vaccine is the answer. Personally, and this is why I continue to say I'm not an anti-vaxxer, was I against it very much in the beginning? Absolutely, absolutely. Because it's an mRNA vaccine, which is the first of its kind. There has never, prior to my knowledge, and at least what was unveiled about the vaccine, was not a vaccine like the one that is currently out there for the COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2. There was no mRNA vaccine. This is the first of its kind. So that's one. Two, it's too early. That's kind of the mindset I've been, is that, yes, I know that sounds crazy because where I'm from, 30,000 people have died from this. Right? And then saying it's too early, it's like an eye roll. You're just like, most people are just like, that's fucking stupid. That's dumb. Right? There's no fact behind that. There's no, you're not listening to facts at that point. And to that, I would continue to present this side that I've the observations that I've had, which is that why is the narrative changed so many times? And I will answer that. I'm being rhetorical in a sense, is that to me, the narrative of the vaccines behind COVID has changed so many times because nobody knows the answer. Because everybody just wants to be safe. People don't want to die a terrible, horrible, miserable death from this. So, and yes, as more information comes out, as time goes on, we learn more about it. So we're changing the narrative over time, right? That to me has been an issue because it's like, well, why did this start out so strong at first with the first time an mRNA vaccine has been ever rolled out in human history, to my knowledge, was that, okay, but everybody needs to take this. It's going to help everybody. It was made in the fastest time a vaccine has ever been made. Reported that it was. This is all just based on what has been said in the media, is that this is the fastest a vaccine has ever been rolled out. It's the first of its kind, an mRNA vaccine. It was originally thought to stop and prevent COVID, and then that very quickly changed to, no, it's to, it lowers your chances of getting COVID, which has now changed into it lowers your chance of long-term COVID. Why was that not said over here in the beginning? Because we didn't know that, and because the people who are rolling out most of this information may have not known that at the time. And I'm willing to say that that is science as well. That's a part of science. As you learn as you go, you learn as time goes on, you learn through observation and data analysis. And well, that's freaked me the fuck out, because I'm like, well, that's why I've wanted to wait and just see how much is this narrative going to change. How often is this going to change? Because that's going to give the real data. That's going to give a lot more data. And it has. It's changed. It's changed quite a bit. I'm wondering. At this point, I think that it prevents long-term COVID. Like that statement, is going to just kind of, it's going to keep going until the end of this year, until basically the winter season. It's going to keep going until winter of this year. 2022, and then if another stronger variant releases, which supposedly there is already one out there, I don't even know the fucking name of it. I don't care. And I say that now, and I might care in November, October, whatever, just in the winter season. That if that's going to get everyone even sicker, it's just going to push more and more people to get the vaccine. I think that's what a lot of this is to, I'm not trying to go conspiracy mode here. I'm just saying that if you keep getting people sick and they don't listen, and you get them sicker, the sicker you get them, the more they start to listen, the more they start to pay attention, the more they start to say, hey, maybe there's something to this. That's not being a conspiracy theorist. That's not being a dumbass. That's not being, it's being human. And it's also, it can be manipulative and controlling. There's a lot of feelings and emotions I have behind all this, and for those of you out there watching, many of you will put your own label on what you think I'm saying. And long tour, this is not a shot at you. This is not, I'm not firing shots, I promise. It's how we do it out here. We're like, shots fired. Oh shit. Oh shit. I'm not doing that right now. I just want to say that you can label me an anti-vaxxer. There has been many people that immediately, as soon as I start trying to talk about what I'm going through in this process and what I've noticed, that's the first thing that usually comes up is, well, anti-vaxxers, they just start going off on that. And okay, if that's the label that you choose in your mind, that fits what I'm saying, okay. I don't believe I am. I will share this, that I have teetered back and forth for quite some time in my mind, for a long time, that as this goes on, that eventually the reality and the truth is that I may have to get a vaccine eventually. Whether that's because my health suffers to the point where it's just like, okay, maybe I can truly benefit from it at that point in time, if that happens, or because I thought of work that's been one for a long time. So I work for the corporate giant. I work for Amazon, and they have been very gracious about that, which is the policy now is actually that you don't even have to wear masks in the building, and they don't even require vaccines. But I have thought that eventually, in the coming year, or in the coming years, that could change. That narrative could completely change, and that's something a lot of us have thought for a long time, I think. But that could absolutely change. So whether it's from that, whether it's from getting better and all of this shit that I'm describing goes away and I recover and I feel great and I feel amazing, and then I want to go travel and suddenly vaccines are required to travel, right? That's been another one that they have been worldwide, but I'm saying more along the lines of in our country, if it slowly starts to become mandated state to state that you have to be vaccinated to enter the state. These are all things I haven't thrown out the window because I'm like, this is the reality of the world we're living in now, is that these things haven't gone away. In my area of the world and where I'm at in the world, the talk of COVID has gone way down. Now keep in mind, and a long tour, you possibly don't know this, but so I'm out in Phoenix, Arizona. It says it in the About Me section on here, but Phoenix, Arizona was one of the worst places in the world, not in the country, in the entire world. Phoenix, Arizona was one of the worst places at multiple points in time throughout the entirety of COVID. So multiple times Phoenix has been literally ranked as the worst in the world, and that has taken a huge toll. Like I said, 30,000 pretty much over just well over 30,000 people were reported to have died out here in Arizona from COVID. Which I might add, and this isn't talked about, but I do believe that some of those people were vaccinated, or at least a portion of them were. I'm not saying that to shit on vaccinations or vaccinated people. I'm not. I'm just saying I believe that in that data there are people who are vaccinated who also died. Whether it was from the vaccine or COVID, I don't know. I have no idea. But of course, that doesn't get talked about. That out here, that's not the narrative. The narrative is everywhere since this has happened, or at least since like 2021. Well, actually since back in 2020, the signs everywhere out here were just go get vaccinated, be a part of the change, like help Arizona be healthy and go get vaccinated. And I'm just tired of it all. And I've been around a lot of people, I think, who've been using that phrase lately. They're just tired. They're just tired of it. I'm just tired of feeling sick. I'm tired of feeling worn the fuck out. I'm tired of this like draining my finances. I'm tired of this draining me emotionally and physically. I'm just tired. I'm just tired of it. And I think, I don't know what to think about it, I guess. I'm just, yeah, I'm just here. I'm just doing the best I can. I guess the other thing I wanted to share, I'm trying to find the words to say it, is that my content may be lacking lately, right? Like for those who follow on Instagram who are here with me, thank you for tuning in. I've been fucking miserable this past, like, I swear all of March was just a miserable time. Like, it was just a miserable month. I don't know about you guys out there, but March, the whole month of March for me was just stupid. It was just dumb. I hated it. It was like waking up every day and like, is this gonna end? Is this month gonna get any better? That's how it felt. And now going into April, I'm not feeling like that every day. I think this week has just been, it's been hard. I've just been trying to keep my head above water this week. That's kind of the expression I've been saying, the metaphor I've been using, and I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling at all. The truth is, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it's been draining me in a lot of ways, and that's made me worried. And yet I don't need to be worried. Like, the thing that has worried me the most is financially that it has been draining, and yet I'm supposed to, fingers crossed that it still does come in, it's supposed to, my tax refund is coming in, which can actually help me out a lot this month. And I don't know when I'll be getting it. I think it's sometime next week that it should be coming in, because there was a mistake and I had to go back and have it fixed. But I wasn't wanting to even use that. I was wanting to just like save that, and that's just where it's just where everything's kind of been. So this has just kind of been a check-in. I just wanted to kind of check in, and I guess I'll also say that somebody at my work has told me, there's a guy I met at work that he's from North Carolina, and he moved out here back in December, and he got a job at Amazon, he got a job in my warehouse, and just like a few weeks ago, I had seen him again at work, and he had mentioned, he's like, hey, he's like, I think he said something like, do you want to hang out? And I said, no, I'm sick. And he's like, you've been sick since I met you. And that's really been playing with my mind a lot. Like, I hate that because that's how it's been. Like, I've been really sick for since this stuff. And I've gotten better, and then I've kind of dipped back into like, oh shit, I think I'm getting really sick again, to better, to just this teeter totter. And I don't want to be like this. I don't want to keep feeling like this. And so I'm doing what I can do every day to like not be like shitty and feeling shitty. And with that, the biggest thing for me is my health. So if it means pushing everything else out to focus solely on my health, then that's what it takes. And I think that rubs people the wrong way. And so for those of you out there who have been enjoying the shit out of your lives, whether you're in this community, whether it's just people I've seen that are acquaintances on social media, I'm happy for you. I really am. And I'm jealous because I want to be doing those things. And I've been leery of that because, like, I got invited to a show to go to tomorrow night. And I just told them I can't go. And it's another buddy I have from work, and I'm just like, I can't go because I didn't tell them, but I'm just like, because I don't know if that's going to be beneficial towards my health at this point in time. If it's better for me to just rest and get better, to just keep functioning and be good, and it could just be this season of my life. And that's what I hope it is. It's just this season of my life. This is happening, and I have to confront it. And by the way, I don't. Like, when this happens to us, we don't have to confront these things. We can ignore them. We can ignore how our body feels, but I used to do that a lot, and now I try to kind of hone in on, okay, how is my health? Where's my health at? Because I know if I can check that and make sure that that's cared for and attended to, that I don't go out into the world feeling like shit, or that I don't come back from, if I were to go to that show tomorrow and then come back and feel like shit the rest of the week. Like, it's taking responsibility of like, hey, look, I got to look after my body and my health and myself, and build my energy, look at my temple, work on my temple, if you will, to then go out and have that energy to do the things that I want to do and show up the way I want to show up, and sometimes be a support for others because I've looked after myself and taken care of myself. So it's not fun. It's not fun to tell people no, and then when they ask, it's like, no, because I'm concerned about my health. Most people just are like, just who cares? Just let it, just come on, just go have fun. And no, it's I cherish living well, living a balanced and well life, and my life has been out of balance right now. And if it's anybody that has worked on balance more in their life, it is me. And so if it's anything I could suggest or offer to anybody who watches this, or any of my followers, or any of this community, or anyone outside this community who's just kind of interested in taking a peek, is to focus on you, is to focus on your health, is to focus, even if you do have the vaccine. I'm not once again, I'm not trying to be biased and say anti-vax, vaxxer. Like, no, I'm saying if you're vaccinated and you're not feeling well in your life, in any area of your life, focus on that area. Focus on what needs to change. And right now, this is just where I'm at with it, and COVID is just kind of what I think is part of the long-term symptoms of this, of why I've been feeling this way. And so I'm dealing with it the best I can every day. Sometimes that's what we can do. So, um, thank you all for tuning in, and I will be in touch. Um, thank you. Thank you guys for your support, and take care.